having the world-class Maeda back is huge. And Keith, that obviously came out last night, that he's had his ban reduced to 1 game. He'll play tomorrow night, Daizen Maeda. That is massive for Celtic.
Yeah, it's funny that point there, though. I was thinking that myself. If anything ever illustrated the size of the gap, and people always argue, what is the size of the gap? How far in front of Celtic? Celtic are just about to face Bayern Munich for a place in the last 16 of the Champions League a couple of days after Rangers get knocked out of the Scottish Cup at Queen's Park. That is the gap. That's where it's at. In terms of Maeda, that is just sensational news. In fact, see, when you look at it, if the team can perform on the pitch, if they can play the same kind of blinder that the club has played behind the scenes with the beaks at UEFA over the last week or so, you know what? There might be a chance for them here because, not only have Celtic managed to get a victory in terms of away fans can go to the Allianz next week, and I don't think many of us expected that was going to happen. All of a sudden, last night, out of nowhere, a magic Daizen Maeda back into selection was incredible. And I think Brendan Rodgers explained it at the press, or Swanee can talk us through it, but he said that, Celtic weren't made aware of what the written report was for the reason of the 2-game suspension. And I think one of the words that was used was assault. And as soon as they saw that, they thought, we've got a case here. And they fired off a letter and they made their appeal. And it's been, overturned. Maeda is now available, and that is a superb break for Brendan Rodgers, who now has an increase of options for how he shapes up his final third against Bayern Munich. And, it goes without saying, and I know that he kind of made a joke. He says, well, I've just realised I've ran the legs off him for the last 3 games, kind of anticipating that he wasn't going to be available. Daizen Maeda will be one of the first names in that team sheet, whether it's as a central striker or playing out on the left-hand side, which I think it probably will be. But yeah, it's brilliant news. And it just, something maybe just gives you a little bit of a feel-good factor, maybe a bit of momentum or a head start going into this double header against Bayern. Little breaks like that can sometimes play a really significant role. Mm-hmm. I think Celtic can go into this game not expecting to win. I know that Cal McGregor says they're probably going to have to win in order to get through the tie to have any realistic chance. He's probably right. But you know what? I think if Celtic can take a draw from this first leg over to Germany, keep it alive, their own fans are going to be there, it keeps them in it. And I think that's kind of the first target for tomorrow night. Just stay in it, stay in the tie.
But Swanee, it does raise that as Keith touched on there, the possibility that, we could have Maeda through the middle, Jota on the left, Kuhn on the right. I mean, do you think that's likely, or do you think Brendan Rodgers is likely to stick with Idah through the centre?
I suspect the shout will probably, I agree with Keith, I think Daizen Maeda straight in the team. I think Nicholas Kuhn plays. I suspect it'll be Adam Idah. I just put that decision down to minutes and legs for Jota. Brendan Rodgers spoke about that today. When he was just asked in a general point about Jota, he just talked about game time, getting up to speed and that kind of thing, and that'll come. This is a massive, massive game where you really need to be on it and ready to go, and I don't think Jota's played enough football, really. I agree that Daizen Maeda through the middle would give Celtic fantastic option in there. It's just his movement and his running, his pace and his running ability, and moving people about much in the way that Kyogo did. With 2 quick guys either side of him, I think that would be terrific, but it's a big ask, I think, for Jota to start a game like that. Now, he would have had to do so had this suspension not been reduced, but I think now that the option is there for Brendan Rodgers, I suspect Adam Idah will get the shout. In fairness to Adam Idah, scored 2 goals in the last Champions League game against Aston Villa, so he probably feels as though he's entitled to get another crack at it. It's his opportunity to stake his claim. Obviously, Brendan Rodgers thought Maeda wasn't going to be available, therefore Idah got a bit of a break in the weekend, but he'll be freshened up and ready to go. So I would expect it to be him, but I've got these team selections wrong in the past.
I think the Hurricane really took you there.
These team selections wrong, I don't know why you ask us.
I mean, Keith Scott, he makes a fair point, doesn't he? I mean, Jota's barely started the game this season, isn't he? I think it was 3 while he was at Rennes.
No, look, I think Swanee's right. Maeda through the middle probably suit Brendan Rodgers more in terms of how he wants to play the game, with intensity and speed and pressing. I think Maeda centrally would be absolutely key to how Rodgers wants to go about it. But as Swanee says, Jota's just know the minutes, and to put him into a game like that, where Celtic are going to need to start fast, it might be a wee bit too much to ask. So I think he probably will go with Idah, and then you maybe looking after an hour, because he's going to ask Idah to run the legs off Bayern's defence if he can for an hour, you would have thought, and then that change will probably come, and you'd expect it to be for Idah. Jota gets his run out in the left, and then Maeda gets switched.
That's exactly
centrally.
it. You just tell Big Idah to get out there, go up against their centre halves, give them as uncomfortable a 60 minutes as you can. Do your tank in, empty it, and then that's the change. The change is you put Maeda through the middle and you put Jota on, and you say to Jota, look, you've got half an hour. They're tired. They're nowhere near as sharp as they were at the start. What can you do in that half hour?
Because Maeda's got the same energy after 60 minutes as he had.
He doesn't stop.
Anyway. Do you know what I mean?
The thing is as well is that Swanee's that we go now from a massive match against Bayern Munich, where no harm to him as a player. He's obviously a top player, but Yang would have been playing a very significant role, and it's now Maeda that's playing that role. I mean, that is the jump in quality there is huge.
Yeah, it's just levels, isn't it, Daniel?
I don't think he would have, though, Swanee, would he? I know we're saying it's not ideal that Jota's not a lot of game time, but if that was the circumstance, Jota would have started.
But Yang would
have been the backup.
He'd have played half an hour at least, wouldn't he? You'd have thought.
Possibly.
Certain Jota would probably have been pushed into start.
Yeah.
Had Maeda not been available tomorrow night, I think that's what happened. I don't know, I can't read Brendan Rodgers' mind, but I suspect Jota would probably have got the nod first for the starting lineup. As I say, it's just levels. Yang's come in, he's done his best, he's done his bit, he's pitched in, but we're at a level of football now where it takes something that's shown a little bit more than what Yang has shown so far. It's like you can take nothing away for Yang's industry, his effort, but just that elite quality at that level. Jota's on a different plane in that respect.